No, I'm gonna go for it. Ah, no. going full Bobcat Goldthwait on this motherfucker.
I really wish I could do it. He has that.
Yeah, is it Bobcat or Bjork?
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right. You're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew. Over there is Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Twitter and Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. We also release a video version of this podcast every Monday on YouTube. That's found at namely90s.com/YouTube. Finally, you can support our show by pledging at one of our very affordable levels on Patreon. And that's on patreon.com/namely90s.
So affordable, no one's pledged yet.
Well, yeah, it takes time. We gotta nurture the relationships and
maybe actually do posts, even though there's no one on there to do posts for.
Yes. I don't know. I feel like there's more ways to do it that eventually people will help. And even if like one or two people subscribes, that dramatically
absolutely
helps us and defrays the cost of our operating expenses.
Exactly. Like, because 2 weeks ago, we had a 50 minute episode that punched us into another tier for our upload.
Yep.
But who wants to see how the sausage is made? I want to talk about the Friends reunion since it's been very timely. Now it's the end of the month.
You're welcome.
Yes,
it's because we record stuff in batches.
Sausage.
More like a bratwurst, really. No, I'm sorry. Carry on.
A bockwurst. We're very pale. Well, I finally got to see the Friends reunion. I guess I've been putting it off because it was an hour and 45 minutes, and I haven't had the time to just sit down and watch it. You had thoughts when I talked to you about it previously.
I thought it was good. I complained about how much money they got for it, how that somehow cheapens it. Like they're not there because they actually enjoyed. Like obviously they enjoyed their time together, and it was like a big deal. And
very apparent in the show.
But yet it just seems to cheapen it that they were like, well, we need like this many millions of dollars to appear together again on TV. You'd think you'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll do it for a few bucks, But at the same time, it would be ridiculous not to leverage it for your own benefit.
Right. Especially, I mean, there was at least 2 days of recording there, right?
There had to be. They changed outfits once.
Yeah. Or maybe it was like early morning recording and then next morning. I mean, I would ask for money if I had to recreate the scene where I do the quiz in the apartment.
Yeah. Where are you at on the James Corden choice?
Strange. I thought it was a strange choice. I like James Corden. He's a very energetic British man. He was in a couple episodes of Doctor Who. That's where I first.
Is he British? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he doesn't let you forget that. I mean, didn't he take over the Late Late Show originally from?
Yeah, he came over from the Late Show.
Yeah, the one with the Scottish guy that used to.
Oh, Craig Ferguson.
Ferguson. Yeah, he was the boss on the Drew Carey show.
Sorry, did you say Turd Ferguson? Yes, he was.
Yep. I did not say Turd Ferguson. Yeah. But yeah, he came over, he took over for that, and now is he still on that, or is it?
I think so.
Okay, because I feel like he's approaching like second tier late show, or is that their second tier late show?
I think it's
Because does it go Colbert
the
and then
tier.
Corden? Okay, I thought that was like Carson Daly level.
Ooh, Carson. No. Ooh, ouch.
Because NBC has the Tonight Show, and then it has the Late Night, and then it has whatever Carson Daly does.
How many do they need? It's like 3:30 in the morning. Carson comes on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wakes up and then does that show. If it's still even on.
No, I thought the Friends reunion was good. It was nice to relive some of those moments. I mean, we've watched the series so much, and it is a very funny series. So we did enjoy that, and seeing them all back together was fun. I do appreciate too that though Matthew Perry has had his ups and downs, people still sort of, they rally around him, and just when you're a recovering, drug user, it's good to have a good solid core of people in your corner, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Studio 71 or whatever that terrible show was.
No, I was just saying, like,
I'm kidding.
The people from Friends stand by him. It's like, people have their struggles, and throughout all of it, even though he's had some really bad shows, he does remain funny and was definitely like hilarious in that show. So it's like, I'm sorry, if you can have a career where you spend 10 years being like one of the funniest people on TV, I think that's pretty good,
And he had those 2 movies with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he had some other chick flicks, I think, too.
But yeah, I mean, I always throw out, you got Episodes is fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a good episode, or a good show. Whoops.
That was Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, of course. He also appeared on Top Gear in the UK.
Oh, did you see that they revived Top Gear America again?
Yeah, I know, with Dax Shepard and what's the other guy? Rob Corddry, and then the other guy no one's ever heard of. Yeah, I've heard of it. It actually looks pretty good, but I don't want to re-up my Motor Trend subscription.
Oh, yeah, it's stuck on Motor Trend, isn't it?
Yeah, but it looks pretty good. I can actually see that.
Cool. Have you seen Clarkson's solo thing on Amazon?
The farming special?
Yes.
No, I wish they would just release more Grand Tour and make it good.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right. Any other chit chat for the intro? This is so organic. We're so very organic on this.
Any other chit chat you want to go on? No, it's fine. We're done. We're done here.
I mean, I guess I didn't weigh in on the reunion much. I enjoyed it. I liked all the random guests, and I for some reason thought Elliot Gould had died.
Yeah, why did I think that too?
Thank you. Like,
who is it that died? There's someone else. Died.
Would it be Donald Sutherland, or like, is it someone that has?
The reason I remember is it was someone else from the Oceans franchise. I think it was Reiner. Which Reiner was it? Carl Reiner. Yeah, I think Carl Reiner was in the Oceans movies. I think he died, but I thought Elliot Gould. I don't know, that's weird.
Was he?
Yeah, he was like the old guy
related to Friends somehow. Oh yeah. Oh,
no, yes. He wasn't related to Friends.
He is definitely dead. Yes.
Yeah, very dead. But no, Elliot Gould is alive and well.
I was shocked.
Years old.
I was like, that doesn't make sense. My brain's not working. All right. Should we travel back to June 1995?
Let's do it.
All right. On the 7th, the Boeing 777, that's the 777, enters service with United Airlines. Wow.
Ooh.
What a time. On the 13th, Alanis Morissette releases her 3rd studio album, Jagged Little Pill. On the 18th, a memorial service for Elizabeth Montgomery, who had passed away a month prior, is held at the Cannon Theater in Beverly Hills, California. Do you know who Elizabeth Montgomery is?
No.
She played Samantha Stevens in Bewitched. Classic 60s TV show, I believe. I used to watch it on Nick at Night back in the 90s. On the 24th, the New Jersey Devils beat the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup in their first Stanley Cup Finals appearance.
Very good.
And TV premiering and ending this month on the 5th. We have premiering Singled Out premieres on MTV. This is the show hosted by Chris Hardwick and Jenny McAntivaxer. Eventually, she's replaced by Carmen Electra in the final season and a half. On the 19th, we also have Road Rules premiering on MTV. and ending supermarket sweep for a few years on the 16th. And on the 23rd, we have the Jon Stewart Show on MTV ending as well. You're giving me a look.
I just didn't know he had a show on MTV before.
Oh, yeah.
Before.
Yep.
But I also didn't know Chris Hardwick was on MTV either.
Well, except we've talked about Singled Out like many times.
No, I know, but I didn't realize that until like fairly recently.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. So Jon Stewart, Craig Kilborn took the Daily Show before Jon Stewart, and I think Jon Stewart had the show, and then he was in like those Adam Sandler movies, and then got the Daily Show. But who knows? Most likely the internet. In the box office on the 2nd, we have Bridges of Madison County. On the 16th, we have Batman Forever. On the 23rd, we have Pocahontas. On the 30th, we have Judge Dredd and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. And in the Billboard charts, number 1 for June 1995 and into July, Have You Ever Really Loved a Woman by Bryan Adams. Also, for the 4th week in June, we have at number 2, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Nikki French, which is a cover. At number 7, This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan. Number 8 is Waterfalls by TLC. Number 11 is Let Her Cry by Hootie and the Blowfish. And number 15, Runaround by Blues Traveler. News I have for you stateside. Let's toss it across the pond to Gaz and Dange of the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow, who just returned for season 2 this month with what's going on in the UK in June 1995. You can find more about these headlines in their new Segments Half of Their Podcast coming out this Thursday, along with a new weekly quiz game Andrew and I have been presenting for them called Quotely 90s. Now over to the lads from the Insanely Dangerous Retro Podshow.
Good evening. Here are your headlines from June 1995. Arsenal paid $7.5 million for Dennis Bergkamp. Robson and Jerome hit number 1 in the UK. Bad Boys is released in the UK cinemas. John Major resigns as leader of the Conservative Party.
What an amazing bloody month!
Oh, yes.
You lucky, lucky, lucky boys. God, you're so lucky. That's it. That. What a cracking month. Oh, bring back the good days. Anyway, yes. Well done, dude. Well done, you.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, let's throw it back to the Namely 90s guys, and they can talk about it, or we'll talk about it on our episode.
Yeah, toodaloo, Brandrew.
It's that time of the month again, listeners. We get to shout out our listeners who have joined us at patreon.com/namely90s and decided to, is it donate? Is that the right word? Pledge to the podcast.
Patronize, pledge.
Yeah. Patronize the podcast. So we're going to read out a couple of names just so we're clear. No one's patronized us yet, but we're going to do this just to be regular. So at the $5 per month level, we have Namely 90s Faithful that would normally get shout out once a month in this very spot. Thank you for your patronizing. So let's start off with Captain Rib Sanchez.
We've got Finn Wickham.
I have Han Jodgman.
And who could forget Leslie Michelson?
Thank you to Tedder Spice.
And Sanford Walmsley.
And then, at Jules Greenbroom, who also gets a monthly shout out and access to early episodes. Thank you very much to Sandpole. One name, Sandpole.
And thank you to Rodney Huff.
As well as Hydronal Sesapoya.
Not to mention Gary Derricks.
Gary Derricks. Thank you, Gary Derricks. And finally, for the 90s Kids Club, which is the tier that gets early access to episodes, weekly shout outs on the podcast, much like this, and also bonus episodes of our podcasts that don't start until you start pledging at that level. We have a shout out to Hermie.
And Roxana Womack.
And Flair and Sparrow.
And who could forget Magdalena Donaldson.
Thank you so much, Magdalena Donaldson, for supporting us at
her friends call
high level.
Her friends call her Maggie. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. I guess I didn't know we were that close with them. So if you want to have us stop reading these fake names, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/namely90s and join us at the Namely 90s faithful level for just $5 a month. You can help us alleviate some of the costs of putting this podcast together. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much.
Now back to the show. So exciting. Right. Yeah, the those names really.
Yeah. Now that we're done begging for money and using obviously fake names or names that are real, but that don't apply to us in any way, shape, or form.
All we need is one Patreon pledger, and we don't have to spend 2 minutes making up fake names every month.
Yeah. For just the cost of one Starbucks coffee, you could afford the $30 tier.
Oh, if anyone did join us at the $30 tier, then we'd have to start making more content. And we are not set up for that right now.
I hope someone does that just to spite us. They're like, you know what? Make more content. Here's my money.
Yeah.
Take it now.
I'd have to actually get those pogs made that I talked about during the special.
And that nonstick spatula that we promised everyone. Spatula is not actually nonstick. Spatula is not real.
Yeah. So anywhere you want to go? Anything interesting that sparked your anything sparked your interest while we were talking?
No, as you know, I'm sort of a airplane nerd, so it's cool. The 777. My uncle helped. He was a civil engineer, and he helped design the building that the 777 was built in the Everett Boeing factory.
Oh, that's cool. Tell us about that.
Yeah. It was an addition to the Boeing Everett plant, which is the largest factory, actually largest building in the world by volume. So, and you can see it from space.
Did you ever tour around the plant back in the day?
I did. Yeah, I've been on tours. It's pretty cool. I knew someone, I'll just say, in security. So we got to do cool tours and like see stuff and stuff.
I mean,
mostly classified things.
Nice. My dad worked there at some point.
Oh, that's right.
The only time that I ever got to go was when I got to go for one of the family days. My cousin-in-law works there, and I got to. I think that was when the 787 was being built. I forget. They took us through one of the factories, and
very cool.
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's really cool to see all those planes up close.
Yeah, before 9/11, the tours that I got to go on were much more extensive, and then after 9/11, they were less extensive.
Yeah, man, 9/11 was pretty much 9/11 for the airplane world, wasn't it?
It was.
Yes, that was terrible.
And I think the interesting thing is that the airplanes actually move slowly while they're being built, like indiscernibly slowly, so you can't tell, but it's moving.
Huh.
Yeah, and then hopefully the wing was screwed on right.
Yes. Well, one of our childhood friends used to work there as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. And I recall you being a giant plane nerd when we were kids. So when one would fly over, you would always be able to point out.
I still am. Sometimes I sit by the airport to watch planes take off and land, which is dorky. And like when I make my selections on taking flights, like we're going to take a flight, we are doing an Airbus for our upcoming vacation, but they're the only airline that flies a wide body aircraft to the islands, Hawaii, as it is correctly, I think, said by not me.
Pretty sure I said Hawaii the other week.
Anyway, it's actually a nice plane by a nice airline, not like some crappy 1984 757-200 that's about to break in half.
Well, it's not the giant Airbus that causes like.
No, it's like a 330. It's like the same as the 767.
I was going to say,
or 777 wide body.
Yeah, because I remember, wow, that just sparked something in my brain. Back when I was in school, when they like were just introducing the 787 and the Airbus, whatever their counter was.
Yeah.
To the 787.
Oh, the A380. Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yes, and like they were like, planes cannot land in its wake for a half hour because of all the wind vortices that it creates.
Well, and the other thing is,
how's that helpful?
Like it turns out that they'd rather have smaller planes they can pack full of more people that are more fuel efficient. Hence the 787, which is a wide body, but it's more fuel efficient, and the 737 MAX, which, granted, does get better fuel economy, if you will, but also crashes a bit. But the thing with new planes is a lot of them crash when they're new.
Yes.
And they figure out why and move on. Like the DC-10, I believe that the DC came to stand for Death Cruiser because of how often they crash. That plane went on to serve many years and has been a very successful plane. So I am unsure if I would fly on a 737 MAX right now. What's your thought on that?
The 737 MAX, I mean, I don't know at what point I would have an opportunity to fly on one.
Well, Alaska Airlines is pretty much replacing everyone who flies the 737 is replacing them with the MAX, but they were. So now it's like, since they were so crashy, are people still going to do that?
Yeah, but I get stuck with Horizon flights out of here. So
true.
But yes, I mean, currently, no, but it's not like I'm leaving the country for any reason for the next year or so.
You're listening to Namely Aircraft, son.
Well, actually, no, I do have one more thing while we're still on the airplane stuffing people into their tiny seats. Have you seen, there was an article just this last week about how they're designing the new like economy cabins to have like 2 layers of like every other row is like raised so that like your legroom is underneath the chair in front of you, and then the chair in front of you is like raised so that
and then the people in front of them are getting their heads kicked.
Exactly, but like everyone's just squished even more by raising every other row.
I don't like that.
I don't like
Who's
that either.
Doing that?
That was one of the proposed designs for next gen economy seating.
Yeah, but usually the airline gets to dictate what their seating looks like.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. I don't know if it was like attached to any airline yet. I just know that was like a proposed idea. And
before you know it, it's going to be like in India where people like ride on the front of trucks. There's just going to be someone latched to the outside of the airplane.
I thought you were going to go for like Japan where they have like the single tubes that you could sleep in as a hotel instead of.
Yes.
That would be too
I would get stuck in the tube.
Well, I mean, as a larger and taller man, it's very that I'm not going to be able to fly economy ever.
They're just going to turn you into a giant like human torpedo.
Yeah. No, I meant if they do the raised seating.
Yeah. Everyone's in a tube. They just stack the tubes in the airplane.
I mean, if they knock you out for it, that'd be great. But can you imagine
when your plane blows up with like one of those Saturn missiles? You remember what was the fireworks? Where it was like you light the thing and it shoots off 16
Roman candles.
No, and never mind. It's like a little box that's got missiles in it.
Gotcha.
I'm too cool.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah.
All right. And that concludes Aircraft Hour.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Namely Aircraft. Well, I guess we could do our good old fashioned Batman segment.
Speaking of things that fly through the air, let's talk about Batman.
He did have a Batwing in this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Had the same software as the 737 MAX. It kept trying to crash.
Yes. Except in this one, you could see him do the thumbs up through the window when he's like up thousands of feet up in the air. Yet in the middle of the night, you could see him do the thumbs up from the tiny cockpit of the Batwing.
Of course,
top
he's
of
backlit
of Gotham PD. Yeah. Anyway, Batman Forever is a 1995 American superhero film directed by Joel Schumacher and produced by Tim Burton, which I think we got we corrected your confusion last time we talked about Batman Returns, like last month.
This is Batman Returns again.
Yes. This is the third installment of Warner Brothers' initial Batman film series. It's technically a sequel to the 1992 film Batman Returns, but this one stars Val Kilmer, who replaces Michael Keaton, alongside Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Nicole Kidman as female love interest, Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson / Robin, and Michael Gough. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. And Pat Hingle. I'm pretty sure Michael Gough was the butler Alfred. The plot focuses on Batman trying to stop Two-Face and the Riddler in their villainous scheme to extract confidential information from all the minds in Gotham City and use it to learn Batman's identity and bring the city under their control. In the process, he gains allegiance from a young orphan circus acrobat named Dick Grayson, who becomes his sidekick, Robin, and meets and develops feelings for psychologist Dr. Chase Meridian. That would be Nicole Kidman's character, which brings him to the point to decide if he will lead a normal life or if he's destined to fight crime as Batman forever. Ooh, see what they did there?
Batman Forever. Oh, they said the name. Okay,
but also Drew Barrymore was in this, which I didn't realize.
And Adam Sandler. Just kidding.
No, Drew Barrymore plays like the Two-Face has two girls. One's like an evil one for his evil side, and an angelic one for his light side. That do I don't know. They're just sexy girls feeding him for some reason. And one of them's Drew Barrymore.
When you were reading off the list of actors, you said Nicole Kidman, who is the female love interest.
Yes.
Then you said Chris O'Donnell, and I just assumed you were going to say the male love interest. And then it was Robin, and then it made me laugh even more.
That's perfect.
Which is fine.
I saw you leaning away from your microphone for a second.
I think you can just say love interest now.
That's true.
Usually I'm the one getting corrected, so sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. And she's a doctor, not a lady doctor.
Yeah. Dr. Mrs. No. Just doctor. That's fine. Thanks.
Okay. Mrs. Doctor. So the director was Joel Schumacher. So we've talked about bat nipples at length on this podcast. I, for some reason, we talked about it when we talked about the fourth Batman movie the first time, which was Batman and Robin. But this was the one that introduced it on one of the bat suits, and Joel Schumacher, rest in peace, said this on the 25th anniversary of this movie. He said, well, it was made by Jose Fernandez, in reference to the bat suit, who is our brilliant lead sculptor. If you look at Batman and Batman Returns, it was the genius Rob, blah, blah, blah. Where was I going with this? So by the time Batman Forever, the rubber and, gotcha. He was saying the suits in Batman and Batman Returns are very stiff and thick. By the time they got to Batman Forever, the rubber techniques had gotten so sophisticated. They became so advanced. He wanted to make it anatomically correct. And gave photos of the Greek statues and those incredible anatomical drawings you see in medical books. So the designer did the nipples, and when Joel Schumacher looked at him, he thought, that's cool. That's cool.
All right.
But bat nipples, that's all anyone could think of when you think of these movies. Did you ever see Batman Forever?
Did I? No.
Because it has your other 90s favorite actor in it, Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I didn't see this, though.
And he basically does his character from The Mask, except slightly more unhinged.
Right. And he has like the green part from the mask around his eye.
Yes. And his like stretched over his body as well. It's basically a sequel to The Mask.
Exactly. In a lot of ways, it is.
Also, I remember Tommy Lee Jones, who I think, because he was popular at the time, and he did Men in Black somewhere around this as well. But he only did this because his grandson or something. He wanted to impress his grandson
by being a villain.
Well, you're in a Batman movie. Because he was like, I would never subject myself to any of this, and he just delivers a completely unhinged performance as well. I don't know if I've ever watched this outside of the 90s, because it is I don't know how to put it into words. It's like a fever dream. It's, I mean, clearly terrible, but no offense if you're a Batman Forever stan out
Isn't this
there.
supposed to be one of the campy ones you were saying?
Yes. The post Burton campy, super colorful, super lively, totally unhinged villains. There was a reason that we needed the gritty Christopher Nolan Batman to cleanse our palate after this.
Sure. Haven't you ever said the phrase, he did the nipples, and when I looked at them, I thought that's cool?
I've said that many of times. I have to get my nipples waxed every 4 weeks by Manuel, so that your bat nipple prosthetic will fit appropriately. Exactly. If you don't get waxed, the molding doesn't. It just shows some crackling.
Oh no! So anatomically correct.
Any final thoughts? This is our last Batman. Anything to talk about for the 90s.
Here's my final thought: Batman Forever until the next one. That's just want to say that.
That's fair. So moving on from a movie I didn't know you didn't see to a movie I know you haven't seen. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie.
The college years. No, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, technically Turbo would be the college years, because they graduate and then. Anyway,
okay. Yep. All right.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. I've written here. Finally, it's my time to shine. It was a 1995 movie featuring the current cast of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which had lost 3 of the leads between season 1 and season 2 because of contract disputes.
Yes.
And then also realizing that you can't have an Asian woman play the Yellow Ranger and a black man play the Black Ranger.
Oh dear.
And have a quote unquote redneck play the Red Ranger.
That's better that it wasn't a Native American person. Just saying.
Yeah, technically the Native American person who played the Green and then White Ranger.
I appreciate that they tried to make it like multiracial.
Yes,
but they really did it the wrong way. Let's make the black person the Blue Ranger, or something.
I don't think they were thinking when they did that,
No.
Or they were. It was the early 90s. But yeah, so they made a movie, and but it's set in an alternate timeline. So it has no effect on the TV series. In fact,
really,
yeah. So the whole premise of the movie is Ivan Ooze is released from whatever. He was put in a space dumpster like Rita, and they find it in a construction site in Angel Grove because plot convenience. And they fight this guy. They realize they don't have enough power to fight him. He breaks into the command center, puts Zord on his deathbed, almost destroys the entire command center, and their powers are gone. And then they have to go travel to another planet to find new powers and new power coins and new whatever. Yes. So they transport to this new planet called Phaedos. They're attacked by these flying bird ooze creatures called the Tengu. They meet a scantily clad woman who's the master warrior of the planet Phaedos, and awakens something in all the young boys watching. And, you know, so then they're given their ninja powers, but they then have to go find the rest of it. I don't understand. She awakens the powers of these spirit animals in the Rangers, and then's like, now go into the Forest of Doom to find the rest of the power that you could take back to fight Ivan Ooze.
Some good old fashioned cultural appropriation. Thanks, right. 1990s.
Yeah. And then there's a B story where a random child that's friends with the Power Rangers, not their age group. He just also hangs out at the youth center, and for some reason is friends with these kids. The Ivan Ooze character on Earth is controlling all of the children in Angel Grove, or not the children, the parents of children in Angel Grove, with some sort of silly putty like device. And one touch of this evil silly putty, and they become mind controlled, and they build him a castle. Or
it's like 5G or the COVID vaccine.
Exactly. Passed through silly putty. Anyway, that's way too much detail for the movie.
Yes.
The important part is I remember the intro scene where they're skydiving for no reason. Well, they're skydiving.
As one does.
Yeah, they're skydiving for charity. And then they also, once they're done skydiving, they go rollerblading through the city to, I think, a Red Hot Chili Peppers song or an Aerosmith song. And then Ivan Ooze is released from the ground or something. I'm out of order. Either way, the first big fight scene where they morph. Then they're just throwing out puns left and right, and the one that I remember the most is Kimberly kicks a putty off of scaffolding, and she says, "Have a nice trip. See you next fall." She might have tripped one of them, but that was all just to say, "Have a nice trip. See you next fall."
Wow.
Yep.
Even I don't support that.
And you love those types of bad puns.
Yeah, that's too much for me.
They're coming back to me as I say this. I think the Red Ranger does a bunch of flying kicks and says elevator going up as he's kicking someone up an elevator shaft or something. Yeah. I wish I had written them all down. I haven't watched this movie in
what a shame.
Decades, but yeah. It was bad. And then in the end they save Zordon by sharing their power and love with him. And it somehow creates, I don't know. It was a bad movie.
Sounds like a reach, the whole thing.
Yeah. The new Ranger spirits are Aisha is a bear, Rocky is an ape, Billy is the wolf, Kimberly is a crane, Adam is a frog, and Tommy is the falcon.
God, it's so offensive.
Did I miss anything? Oh, and then the difference from the TV series is, and they explain this much differently. They go find Ninjor, who is a ninja robot man or something, who made the power coins, and they have none of this Ivan Ooze nonsense, and just get power coins from him. And that's how they move on. Speaking of moving on,
I was going to say, no, nothing else.
Nothing else from you? Sure?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Don't want to touch on Judge Dredd or Singled Out?
Don't know what Judge Dredd is.
Stallone movie.
Singled Out. Again, Jenny McAnti-vaxxer. Really distasteful person.
I think we did do an episode where we talked about Singled Out for a little bit, which was weird.
I think it's because we talked about Chris Hardwick.
But why, other than for Singled Out?
I think we talked about him allegedly being a creep.
Oh, yeah. But
hashtag not allegedly, hashtag allegedly. I don't know. It's too hard to know anymore. We talked about it though.
All right. Well, then I guess that does it for the June 1995 episode of Namely 90s. Or what I usually say is, and that's it for this week's edition of Namely 90s. Remember, you can find new episodes out every Monday. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at 99days with a 90s. Wow, what is this voice? Or find our personal accounts at Beachwoody and at Namely Andrew and tell us what you want us to talk about on future episodes. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s. Finally, you can contact us through our website, namely90s.com. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Bat Nipples, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon, that is Andrew, and we will catch you next time.
No energy. I'm like sapped. I don't know what I think I did too much today.